Hello folks, welcome to the video. A friend of mine's got an AJS Stormer. I don't know what year it is, 60s or something like that. Kept knocking out spark plugs, struggling to start. And I said, well, why don't you, rather than have the old, God knows how many year old ignition system on it, why don't you put a modern ignition system on it? I said, I can get hold of an ElectrexWorld one for you, because I've got a good rapport go with Pete at ElectrexWorld. And yeah, so I've got him one, but he wasn't confident in fitting it. So I thought, alright then, I'll do it. So it was a bit of a change to rewinding orders for the day. So anyway, I've had it on the shelf for a while. I've just cleared my bench out, and I've just got time to fit it now, because he brought the bike round last night, so I thought I'd get on and fit it. Anyway, yeah, like I say, I've had it a while. I've got the kit here, so I'll just run through what's in there. Obviously there's a set of instructions, quite comprehensive after reading them. You've got the tiny little stator plate on there with the ignition source and trigger coil built into that. Got the flywheel rotor with the magnet in that goes on the end of the crankshaft. A weight that gets bolted onto the end of that, obviously to give the inertia for the engine. Ignition coil, a plate to bolt on the end of everything to jam it all up against the crankshaft. What else we got in here? Obviously some nuts and bolts. Spark plug HT cap. Few connectors, and we got a handlebar mounted kill switch there. So that looks like what's all this in the package. I don't want any more. But yeah, it looks a pretty simple system, just ignition only. I don't think it's going to be anything complicated. We'll go down to the workshop in a minute, and I've already stripped the old stuff off the bike. It wasn't that difficult to do, just a load of screws. Some of them were a bit tight, but I managed to get one done. I kind of cleaned it up as much as I can with what I've got here. So yeah, we'll get down there in a minute and fit all this on there. So yeah, see you down in the workshop shortly. Okay, here's the Stormer. For the ignition to be fitted on. There's the old kit there. The old flywheel, cover, stator, all the old points and all that. And there's the points cover. Took the gear change off, makes it a bit easier. And there's all the new kit. And that is where it's all got to be fitted back on. The keyway looks in good condition, and the taper looks pretty good. Well, very good actually. Yeah, so we'll follow the instructions. It's got to be mounted on there. Right, I'll stick the camera on a tripod. Okay, well, prior to fitting everything, it recommends taking the Woodruff key out and making sure that the new flywheel or the rotor assembly sits nicely on the shaft. So let's see if we can get the Woodruff key out of it. There we go, it just popped out. But what I have just noticed, when you kick it over, there's a bit of a draft. I was wondering what that is. Air is coming out of that top bolt hole. Now I wonder if it's worth taking that cover off and seeing what it's all about, or just plugging that hole. I reckon what somebody's done is they probably drilled that hole at one time and gone through it in the crankcase, so I think I ought to investigate that by taking that cover off. Right, okay. Right, I've got 2 bolts out. Ah, that's interesting. That and the crank main bearing goes straight out to that bolt hole there. Now that's not good. I wonder why that is. That's actually like factory, that is. I presume when the alternate original one was bolted on there, that kind of covered that up. So yeah, we're going to have to block that hole up. As I haven't got a grub screw to go in there, I might use one of the original screws, just put a little slot in it and Loctite it in place so it's flush with the edge. On the other hand, we don't want it going right in, do we? If that's not threaded all the way down, then it won't be a problem. But anyway, I'll look at that in a minute. Okay, right, so I've cut down one of these screws and put a little, there you go, bit of thread, cut a slot in it so I can screw that in there and block that hole up at the back. I'll put some Loctite on it and screw it in there. Right, I'll put some Loctite on it. Let's see. Screw that in. If I can get it in there. There we go. Just screw it so it bottoms out. Isn't going to go anywhere if it comes back this way because it'll be against the back plate anyway. But that should just block that hole off. Alright, put it back on the bike. Right, there is an O-ring that goes around the outside of that. Make sure that's seated in place, the oil seal's good. So yeah, pop it back on. One, two, three. That was a bit funny, that does. Don't like the way that's bending it, whether that's just the O-ring or not. It might just be the O-ring actually. just the O-ring. Ooh, washer. Where's the washer gone? Yeah. I think it's just squidging the O-ring up. Yeah. Let's get good. Excellent. Nice on the taper. Right. Back plate. Air's not rushing out of it now. Right, pinch that up, slacken it off a bit, so it's adjustable. Right, set it midway. Can't go too far. Which way does it rotate? That way. Just notice that the screw's just touching the coil plastic, but we'll just see if we can get away with timing that as it is. Right. Cool. Right, we've got the plate mounted on there. We've got the key, Woodruff key. I'll just clean it up on a foil. Not too much, just get the burrs off of it. Key in. Right, let's see if this fits on there. Yeah, that feels good. Feels very good. Right, it says apply some grease to both sides of the flange nut and then refit the nut. Now I guess you fit this afterwards so it allows removal of it. Whether you leave that on there or not, I don't know, but good idea that. Like the original. Right, now I've got to just lightly fix that. So now I've got to set the timing, so there's a fire mark on the top with a mark on the back plate. So I'm guessing that's got to be all worked out, so I'll get the dial gauge set up. Remove the spark plug and with the dial gauge set the piston to full advance, see below, and without moving the rotor rotate the stator base plate so that the punch mark highlighted in red aligns with the F mark. F mark. So there's a slight twist in the crank, but not enough to affect that by the look on it. Right, set that all up. Okay, so we set it on top dead center. Right. Come on, get up there. Let's top dead center at 0. Back it off. 1, 2, 3.6, and then go back to 3.4. Line the marks up. There we go. Okay, so I got it bolted up on there now. What I had to do was clean that keyway up because I think the raised section of it was a little bit high and it wasn't really pulling up tight on the taper on the crankshaft, and also clean the groove out that the keyway sits in on the crank. But that's fits up there quite nicely now. So now we've got to route the wiring and fit the HT coil CDI unit assembly underneath the tank. I've got the tank off of it now. I've left the extractor mechanism off of it at the moment and just sort of lightly pulled the flywheel up, so we should be able to get some sparks shortly once I've connected the coil. Right, I'll look into how that's done and we'll go from there. Right, got it all put on there now, kill switch on there. I poured a little bit of petrol down the barrel, obviously, and just see if it'll fire. Fingers crossed, eh? Yeah, she fires. Right, put the tank on. Let's see if it'll go. Run properly. Right, I put some fresh fuel in it, which is quite important because this modern stuff doesn't last 5 minutes. So, let's see what happens. Make sure the choke's on. switch works. Job done. Result. Okay folks, that was a good little job, well done. Sounds nice and crisp now. Probably better than what it was with the points, although I never tried to start it with the points on it anyway, but the guy said it kept knocking out plugs and all that. So yeah, no, it went pretty good. Just a few little things. I had to shorten those screws that hold the new coil on it, you know, the coil behind the flywheel, because they obviously the original stator is obviously thicker, so I just had to shorten them down. The other thing was to block that little hole up where the air draft was coming out from the crankcase. I don't know, that's all part of a casting in there. I can't understand what that is, but it must have been there for a reason. But anyway, we blocked that out with a bit of Loctite to hold a screw in there. The other thing was to get that timing, the back plate to move fully to allow the full timing adjustment on it. I had to just have to chamfer it because the coil touched on it, so it wouldn't go on full. So I just ground the head out a little bit, but it still pulls it down tight. So that was another little job I had to do. Yeah, and just make sure that the little shoulder that the whole little back plate fits on is, you know, is clean, so it fits on there nice. And one other thing I will say is make sure retorque that flywheel up as well, because I did when I did run it for a little while, I don't know whether there was anything on there, but I could retorque it again and it moved. So just retorque it, run the bike for a little while, and then retorque it again, and make sure it's secure, because it's quite a heavy lump that is held on the end of that shaft. But besides that, yeah, it went all right. Hopefully the guy will come get out my way tomorrow. I've put all the tank and all that back on it now, and cable tied everything up out the way, and did cleaned it all up. And one other thing I did do was put a little bit of instant silicone around where the wire feed comes out the engine, just to stop any poo getting in there and moisture and water and whatever. And I put a little bit of silicone on the main casing that covers the flywheel. There's no gasket on there, and I wasn't going to make one. It's just again to stop any muck from getting in there. I mean, the worst thing you do is get any crap in there, really. That's the killer of those things. But yeah, I think he's looking forward to getting back out on it with that new stator kit on there. Hopefully he won't have any starting problems. And yeah, anyway, I got it from ElectrexWorld. I don't know whether you can see it on the video there. I purchased quite a few items from them and fit up a load, especially with the 4-stroke singles, you know, the single BSAs and stuff like that, and some of the Triumph twins as well. Fit a few of them. Never had a problem with them. You know, you can't fault them really. One thing I will say is make sure you put fresh petrol on that, because it showed up on that. It just didn't want to fire up, and fresh petrol is a must, because the petrol that comes out of the pumps these days is absolute crap. It's not like it used to be when you used to get 4-star fuel and it used to last for ages. Always put fresh fuel in there. You can be pulling your air out. Oh, it's got fuel, but it's not running. But put fresh fuel in it, and especially with them 2-strokes, and they got loads of oil in the damn thing. So clean fuel, fresh fuel is a must. And I do hear people saying, "Oh, I fitted it and it hasn't got a very good spark." Well, the spark on these is a high intensity short spark. You don't need a girt fat spark. And people go on about these bloody fat sparks. It's unbelievable. But anyway, you can see that it fires up. It's crisp as anything. So yeah, that's about it really. All I can say is, yeah, thanks for watching, and catch up on the next one. Thanks for now.